Welcome back to Persona Week. So it is, still very much the anniversary here, waiting on some form of news in regards to most likely some form of information or news in regards to Persona 4 Revival. Still think it should have been Rewind. I'm never going to let that go. I think where I got it from was that somebody like leaked the name somewhere probably, and I thought I might have heard something like that because it just made a lot of sense. No, I don't believe it until I see it type, you know what I'm saying? Like there are some leaks like here and there that usually come to fruition from certain people that I'm like, okay, well, I know now if I see it from this person, whatever. So I think I might have believed Rewind, and that's why I kind of wanted it to be Rewind. But it's Revival. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whatever. Now, like I've said in a couple of videos now, while I do think that Persona 3 Reload was a very solid, like, remaster, remake, whatever, I guess remake, let's just call it what it is, it's a from the ground up remake, kind of just giving the entirety of the game that Persona 5 coat of paint to familiarize it for people that are just getting into the Persona series through 5, so it's a lot easier for them to swallow, right? It got that nice coat of paint, that nice touch up of the UI, a nice new way to not new way to battle per se, but they really touched up on things and made it look a lot better and stuff like that. We even got the baton pass situation, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a minute since I've touched it, but for the most part, they really touched up on that game and made it really, really good, right? Even if there was a little bit of a burnout situation with a lot of people had that same burnout situation in which they're like, yep, this is Persona 3 still. For the most part, though, it's kind of hard to say that it's not still a good game. It's still a very good game, don't get me wrong, but that's because the original was a very good game. So, kind of a hard thing to mess up, especially with Atlas. They already know the drill. Now, when it comes to Persona 4 Revival, like I said in one of my previous videos, I'm a little skeptical on how to go about Revival because right now I'm in the midst of a situation in which I had just recently restarted my playthrough of Persona 4 Golden, because I figured, yeah, it's probably going to be a while. And I didn't even realize that this year was going to be the anniversary year, the 30th anniversary year for Persona. So I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, well, are we going to see something from it this year? Are we going to get it maybe later this year, maybe earlier later next year or something like that? And if that's the case, would it even be worth going through another playthrough of Persona 4? Because I don't want to feel that burnout. You know what I'm saying? Because, I did feel that burnout a little bit with Persona 3 Reload because, I already played Persona 3, so I kind of want to avoid that situation with Persona 4 Revival. Now, I do have a very short list here of things that I would definitely like to see going into Persona 4 Revival that would definitely help alleviate that potential burnout so that, when I get to the midst of the game, there are still things that are kind of newer and things that I'm looking forward to. Some changes that would really make the playthrough completely worth it, and, it wouldn't hurt as much if I were to go back through it after I Persona 4 Golden playthrough, right? For starters, right, the dungeon situation. Now, I don't hate how they go about the themed dungeon situation in Persona 4 Golden. I think it's actually really neat how they have like specific subsections and things like that look like they all have a theme, right? But the problem with that is that it is all very like simplistic hallways and things like that, right? And for its time, it was on simpler hardware, randomized dungeons were just the thing to do when it came to Persona games from what I've seen. So it's totally fine that they did that. I'm not mad about that or anything like that. But if we could do, something to maybe change it up just a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? I'd be cool if we went for, what we had with Tartarus, make it a little bit more of like a roguelike situation where we do have, like little different mechanics that get us in and out of the dungeon quicker. We have little like subsections with bosses and things like that. I mean, granted, I think the originals had something like that too. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. But the thing with Persona 3 is that they were able to change that because we always had a situation in which, we would just go about our weeks, whatever, not thinking too much about it. If you didn't want to tackle Tartarus until a later time, you could absolutely do that. Tartarus was pretty much like, you just had to get to a certain point by endgame, otherwise you were locked out or you were screwed. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to Persona 4 Golden or Reload or what? When it comes to Persona 4, it's not like that. It was always like these theme hallways, and that's when you really had to like, lock in and get something done before a certain amount of time has passed, because otherwise somebody may get hurt, somebody may end up dead, right? So we always had these themed hallways for Persona 4 Golden, and while that's cool and dandy, I feel like we could go for more of a roguelike situation, potentially, if we can manage that, or maybe we can have some real dungeons with some real puzzles. I know that's a big ask. That one's probably a little bit more unrealistic, but I think if we're to justify doing something like this, I think it would be a lot more fun to go through these themed areas and things like that and have like actual like puzzles and things like that within the dungeons, or within, these within the TV world, or metaverse, or whatever it's called here. It's been a while, I forgot. But have a situation like that would really change up the flow a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Really, throw our expectations out the window. Because right now, it's very hard for me to imagine picking up the $70 game and going through all of these dungeons the exact same way that I did in Persona 4 Golden. That would be kind of boring. I feel like that would be just such a okay, really? We couldn't do a little more with this, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like some kind of real dungeon situation would be ideal to really shake up the gameplay aspects of it. Hard to imagine that they would do something like that, especially when it's just, I don't know, it's been a long time since Persona 4 Royal now. I feel like maybe they spent a lot of time, touching up the game and doing what they could. But even the footage that we saw from that Xbox showcase or whatever a while back, almost a year ago now, it looked relatively early in development, right? So, who knows when we're going to get this game, but if, it's going to be another while, or maybe they've been working on it for a little while, some real dungeons that add a little bit more of a mysterious element to all of these, themed areas would be so neat. You know what I'm saying? Like a bathhouse themed, puzzle situation. That'd be really, really cool, I think, for Kanji or whatever, right? The next thing that I have here, this is one that kind of upsetted me in Reload a little bit, and that was the fact that we didn't have any full real animated cutscenes unless it was very, very specific moments, like the opening or something like that. And that really sucked, because in the original Persona 3 FEZ we had actual certain moments where we had fully animated cutscenes, 2D animated cutscenes, and that was really, really great. You know what I'm saying? That it's weird that was so rare in Reload, because I felt like that was prime opportunity to really touch up on that 2000s look that they had, that was so strict back in the day. You could see the 2000s in those clips, you know what I'm saying? And they had the opportunity to alleviate that a little bit, and they just didn't, for whatever reason. And that really sucked, because it kind of took away from that energy that the originals gave us during certain moments, right? Like the first moment where Makoto in 3 picked up the not the silencer, what is that thing called? Anyway, when he first picked up the blaster, the gun, and shot, and literally it was so much darker. It felt so much more serious in the original, as opposed to Reload, where it was an in-game cutscene, and it just didn't hit as hard. Maybe that's because I'm biased. Maybe it's because I already know it. Maybe for somebody that never played it, they have a completely different viewpoint on that. But for somebody that came from the original, I feel like the original version of that, because it was animated so darkly, hit a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I would really like to see actual animated cutscenes for certain aspects of Persona 4 Golden, or Persona 4 in general. I feel like those animated cutscenes should stay. Right? Granted, there's a good chance. I know they could probably cheap out a bit, but come on, guys. You guys got money. This is Atlas we're talking about. I know you guys got money to do it. So just lock in and make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's very viable to have actual fully animated cutscenes during those specific moments again. We don't need to skip out on that. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to. And hopefully, they can keep that same energy from, certain moments that we had in the original. You know what I'm saying? When you first got his hands on his persona, right? I feel like that moment is just so raw. It's so sick. So hopefully we manage something of that caliber. That would make me very, very happy, right? The next thing here, I don't think this one's too much of an ask. This is another major problem that I had with the original, and that was the fact that, because what I want to say here is that I really want them to make a couple of dialogue changes, right? Just little dialogue changes here and there that would more accurately represent each of the characters and their flaws and their developments and stuff like that. Not that they did a bad job in the originals at all. I just think, the script does not need to be bar for bar, dude. Like, that was one of the most exhausting things about P3 Reload, is that it was the exact same thing, bar for bar, and it was like, yo, come on now. We could make a couple of changes, fun little dialogue quips here and there that the originals didn't have. This did not need to be the exact same. Literally, even the fun little, where you could watch them in their rooms, exact same thing, bar for bar. It's like, all right, I know you guys wanted to play it safe and just make sure that everybody had the same exact quality experience here, but I just feel like after seeing, right, Kirby Air Riders, I know this is a crazy pull, you know what I'm saying? They built on top of that game, right? They took everything that the original had and just added onto it and just made it better, you know what I'm saying? They made the original version of the game completely obsolete by just fixing up everything that game had to offer already, and then adding so much more on top of it that made it a completely different game, so that you wouldn't even think twice about the original game, you know what I'm saying? And when it comes to remakes like this, if you're going to remake the game, then remake the game. Go out of your way to make changes that weren't there in the original, that could potential to be, more better for the story, or more serious, or more goofy, or whatever. This is the opportunity to fix stuff that wasn't there before that could have been, or something like that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that letting the voice actors, whoever you choose for the voice actors for these characters this time around, you could have a lot of fun with that. I think you could have a lot more fun doing something like that. I don't think that the script needs to be exact bar for bar, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I really, especially because I don't know what it is. Sometimes if you know a certain thing, if you've watched a certain thing a million different times, and then you see a different version of it, and you're all you're doing is sitting there wondering okay, how are they gonna hit this line? How are they gonna hit this line? You know what I'm saying? You have a certain expectation. I don't know if I want to have those expectations going into Persona 4 Persona 4 Revival, because again, that kind of takes away from it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see how these characters, how these voice actors hit these exact same notes from well over almost 2 decades ago. I want to see what they do with the character. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like there's definitely a lot of ways it could go about this, and I think, just at least a little bit of some dialogue changes here and there would definitely help alleviate that potential fatigue that I can already see coming through these playthroughs. If you were to make it so that I have some new dialogue and fun stuff to look forward to, that would just be great. You know what I'm saying? That would be awesome, right? And then the last thing that I have added here, just a post-game story. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said in one of my previous videos, I fully expect for Persona 4 Revival to be the best definitive edition, specifically of Persona 4 Golden, which already had a lot of quality of life developments and things like that added to it, as well as some extra story elements and social links added to it, and things like that, to just make it an overall just more fun and viable experience. I think they're going to go for that. I want them to make a couple of other changes, of course, but if there's one thing that would definitely help make it a little bit more worth it, especially in base game, did I say Bath? It's crazy. Especially in base game, is to go ahead and add in some more extra story of stuff we haven't seen before. Give us that incentive of something to look forward to. Granted, I know a lot of people probably think that would be kind of a cheap move to make it so that, we're playing through a majority of the exact same game, and then we finally have that little bit of extra tidbit stuff to look forward to at the very end of it. But hey, you know what? This is a remake. This is exactly what we did with Persona 5 Royal, and it seemed to work out for you guys perfectly fine. So at the very least, if we're going to do something like this, make the change, add on a little more stuff that we haven't seen before. You know what I'm saying? I want a situation where Yu does come back maybe a couple of years later, and they end up in a situation on his vacation or whatever where there is, something to be fought and handled, I don't know, they managed to do it just fine in episode Aegis and Royal with the third semester. So I think they could do something like that with this, you know what I'm saying? Granted, episode Aegis was technically in the original game, you know, but like still, I think we could do something more with that, and I think that would be a big help. But overall, those are some of the changes that I need to see in Persona 4 Revival. I don't think a lot of them are going to happen too much in reality. You know, I apparently am asking a little much here, and you know, whatever. It's just a little bit of a wish list to see some changes, because I really did like Persona 3 Reload. I just wish that it wasn't just a copy paste that and looked prettier, you know what I'm saying? Granted, the music was good. They went crazy. They went stupid on the music. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, that really helped the experience a lot. But even then, that doesn't completely save it from being, you know, a complete repeat of what we already know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't want Revival to end up feeling like a little bit of a waste of time, to put it, you know, meanly. But hey, you know what? Maybe that's just me. So that just about does it for this one. This one's also on a whim. This one's super late, but I think that's perfectly fine. We just got to get through Persona Week. So one more video, or no, 3 more videos for you guys this week. So we'll play it by ear. But with that being said, I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that some of these changes could definitely help the potential experience for you in Persona 4 Revival? Making these changes could definitely make it so that you don't feel that fatigue and you don't get a little tired and bored of it, because you already know Persona 4 good and well, and it wouldn't be too much of repeat for you? Or are you on the opposing side? We don't need these changes. They would actually make the game worse, and you would be perfectly fine having the exact same game with that new coat of paint and have it look a little bit fresher for you. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be done with you guys. But with that, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!